Good morning and welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View this morning. Frank McAvenny had a good old moan about the Lawwells yesterday and who really is in charge at Celtic. Is it the Celtic manager? Does he really have final say on recruitment? And going by the players that we've bought in the last year or so, I would say no. Or is it the Lawwells? Is that family connection really doing Celtic all that we need? Frank McAvenny says, I don't think recruitment is Lawwell's forte. Well, I'm going to tell you exactly how it is, and we'll give you his history in football recruitment. I don't think, no disrespect, but how can he become head scout? Sometimes I think Celtic just want to keep in front of Rangers. They don't want to progress. Many Celtic fans have said that over the years. There's always a period where Celtic go into managed decline, where they just don't want to just take that little step forward. Sometimes I just think Celtic want to keep in front of Rangers, says Frank McAvenny. I wouldn't want to be on the board if they don't win the league this year. For me, it is and would be inexcusable. They were desperate for a left back. They didn't do it. They had the whole of the January was a disaster. Since taking up recruitment, Lawwell hasn't been pictured or interviewed by Celtic media at all. He's very elusive and it's very hard to get a picture of Mark Lawwell online. Even when you go onto his LinkedIn, you go into his LinkedIn and Mark Lawwell, he has a picture of him holding up the cup at Celtic Park, and that is it. It's a very elusive picture. There's only one other picture that's really doing the rounds with him, and that's with his dad, and when they were down at Man City. He has been the head of recruitment since July 2022. It's just over 1 year and 8 months. And he was the head of the City Football Group, scouting and recruitment at Manchester City Football Club from November 2012 until July 2022. How the hell did he manage to get that job? He has no other details on LinkedIn at all. He has no other details whatsoever. And it's rather vague history, has to be said. Seems that he made the LinkedIn when he got the job, and there's no pictures of him online. Why is he so elusive? Why hasn't he ever spoken to Celtic TV? Why has he never spoken to anyone in the press? He's never even given an interview to any media since he took up his role. Is his dad keeping him in the background for a reason? There has to be some reason for it. Why would they give him the job in the first place? Why would they give him a job in the first place? When you think about it, it's just not, there's something doesn't tick all the boxes. Before he came in, I mean, we understand that he worked with Ange Postecoglou before, and it was Ange that wanted to bring him in. But Ange seemed to do not too bad in the transfer window before Lawwell got here. Lawwell's had 4 transfer windows, and they haven't been the best of transfer windows, let's say. And let's face it, Brendan Rodgers would rather have spent 15 million on 4 players than 15 million on 8 players in the summer. The players that were brought in last year, is Brendan Rodgers fully in control? Brendan Rodgers said after the game at the weekend, he says, I feel for the supporters. And this is where I think there seems to be something wrong in the background at Celtic Park. I feel for the supporters, Brendan said. I said to the players afterwards today, he said, there are kids there that have travelled from all around the country and also from Ireland and elsewhere to come and see their heroes. And they dream of being them one day. This wouldn't inspire them for sure. It just wasn't anywhere near the level that we would want. Sadly, we have to accept that. You can understand what Brendan Rodgers is trying to do, and it doesn't seem to be the best of motivational coaches at the moment. As a manager, you want to be going through that team, and for me personally, after that result at the weekend, I would be saying it's not good enough. It simply isn't good enough. Never mind saying that we have to accept that there are people who will be disappointed. I am not disappointed. You should be not disappointed. You should be disappointed with yourself. You should be disappointed with yourself with the performances that you put in today. It is not enough for Celtic FC. Brendan Rodgers has to make some hard decisions over the next couple of weeks. He has to get the best out of these players. When you think about it, the players like he's bought in before, Odsonne Edouard, etc., this definitely doesn't seem like Brendan Rodgers type of signings that we've made since Brendan Rodgers came back. Listen, he was aware that all the players that were coming in the summer were earmarked before he got here, which then says, look, no, they're not good enough. Is the recruitment team doing its job correctly? Is it doing its job correctly? This is what I'm asking today. Celtic have been in talks with Leila Barada's agent this week. And this one just stinks for me. It's as if the player is now trying to manoeuvre his way out of Celtic. Obviously, Celtic would want to get a fair fee for the player, but it'll be an interesting couple of days. It's been understood that there is only one opportunity for him, and that's to go to America. However, his agent has said he only wants to go to America on loan so that they can then get a club in Europe. Not long after signing his 5-year deal at Celtic. And let's face it, Celtic fans have been waving Palestine flags for a lot of years, so he knew the situation at Celtic with regarding to the fans. So it's nothing new, although it is a hard thing for him. But he's a professional. And to me, he's down in tools. You're paid to do a job, and it is a difficult situation with the fans, but when you're on the pitch, the majority of the time you can block out with the fans if you're concentrating on your job. You can imagine going into your own job today and saying, "Look, boss, I don't really feel like doing it because you're an orange bastard and I'm a Catholic." So that's basically it. I don't see that working somehow in everyday life. So we'll be watching this one with interest this week to see what actually happens with Leila Abada. Tell me your thoughts in the comment section about the Lawwells. What do you think that is going on with Mark Lawwell? Although his history, he was part of that City Football Group. And let's not confuse the City Football Group with Manchester City Football Club, because the head scout of Manchester City Football Club is one and only guy called Gary Worthington. He is 57 years of age, and he was appointed head of scouting, head scout for Manchester City Football Club on the 1st of July 2012. So the City Football Group is an umbrella of Manchester City Football Club. It has nothing to really do with Manchester City Football Club. With that being said, it is just an offshoot for the worldwide scouting. So if we thought that we were getting someone in that was bringing in the likes of players that Pep Guardiola was getting, we were disillusioned. So just how good is Mark Lawwell at his job? Because let's face it, there's a lot of Celtic fans out there thought that he was running the show for Manchester City Football Club, but he's not. When you look into it, Gary Worthington has been head scout. His last club, he goes right back to 2012. 1st of July 2012. And then there's various scouts. I mean, it's amazing the amount of scouts that Manchester City has. I mean, I'm going to name them all, right? This is something that Celtic don't do on their profiles, right? So this is the Man City scouting system. You've already got Gary Worthington, who was a Man City. He's head of Man City Scouting since July 2012. You've got John McKnight, 2009. Gary Fernandez, 2012. James Poole, 2015. Ruben Comides, 2019. Mohamed Hamad, 2022. Kevin Kushnick, 2023. Brendan McFarlane, 2023. There's a lot of new ones just coming. Chris Baird, Michael Hayes, Darren Ratcliffe, Andy Samowski, Grayson Paul. There's another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 scouts named for the Manchester City Football Club. And they took a youth scout from Celtic in 2018, which was Kenny Marshall. Kenny Marshall left Celtic in 2018 to go to Manchester City Football Club, not Manchester City Football Group, which is interesting. Very interesting whatsoever. The fact that the one and only Lawwell has been paraded around as some kind of messiah when it comes to the transfer market. When you look into it, he's not really. He's been head of a department that's maybe had some significance at Manchester City, but the head of scouting was not Mark Lawwell. Tell me what you think about that revelation today, live on the One Celtic Fans View. What's going to happen with Leila Abada? Looks like he's played his last game for Celtic. I think he's working his ticket now as a professional football player. And it doesn't matter how hard any situation was at the club. You still need to do your talking on the pitch. It's what he's paid for at the end of the day. If he doesn't watch, I could see fans turning against him because of what he's doing. But then again, as Celtic fans, they won't. It is a club open to all. The Green Brigade are there in the stadium every week. They pay their money. They're fans just like everyone else. Let's not get into a conversation about that. But the whole Kobayashi thing for me this morning, the fact that Kobayashi was offered a route out of Celtic and turned that down. Tell me what your thoughts are about that. And on that note, have a fantastic day, Celtic fans all around the world.